I've closed down my Etsy shop this year, and you should too. Here's why. I've been selling on Etsy on and off for years. It's the place everyone tells you to start a shop because it is so easy to do. And while that is true, it does have a lot of its own problems as well. So this year I decided to close down my Etsy shop and move elsewhere. It was a tough decision, but in the end, I think it'll be the right one. As of right now, I have moved all of my digital products over to another website called Gumroad, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. The first reason I moved away from Etsy was because of the fees. There is just straight up way too many of them. First, you get a listing fee of 20 cents every time you post a listing. And then you have to renew that listing every few months and you have to pay another 20 cents to keep that listing active. This might not seem like much at first, but if your product ends up selling 0 times in that time frame, you are just paying more and more over time for that listing to stay up and making no money off of it. There's also a transaction fee of 5% for every transaction and a payment processing fee of 3% plus 25 cents for each transaction. And in the end, that's just not worth it to me. If you add it up over a bunch of listings and sales, you are paying a lot of money for very little reward. Now, at first, I didn't see a whole lot of an issue with Etsy's fees. I figured that's just the cost of doing business. But then I found Gumroad. You can sell digital products, physical products, courses, memberships, things like that. However, the fees on there are much different. So you start out with a 9% fee plus 30 cents for each transaction. But the catch is the more money you make, the less you pay in fees. And this goes for the lifetime of your Gumroad account. So when you start out at $0, you pay 9% for your fees. But when you make your first $1,000, you pay 7% for your fees, and so on. The more that you make, the less you are paying. And I will leave a link down below in the description to the fees and everything for Gumroad so that you can check them out yourself if you want. There's also no listing fee or no renewal fee. You can put up as many listings as you want and you don't get charged unless you make a sale. And that's what I like about it. It gives creators a little bit more freedom to test out products without having an initial investment fee put into it. If your listing doesn't sell, it doesn't actually matter because you've paid nothing to put it up. A few years ago, Etsy rolled out a new program called Etsy OffSite Ads. And with the OffSite Ads, Etsy will place your listing on major sites, search engines like Google and Bing, and on social media sites as well. However, if a customer clicks that ad and buys your product within 30 days of clicking on that ad, you get charged for that advertisement. And the charge is pretty huge, between 12 and 15% of the purchase, depending on how much you make in a year. I think this is an insane thing to expect creators to participate in, and mostly for the reason that there is literally no way to opt out of this service. If you have over $10,000 in revenue for the year, you have to be in Etsy OffSite Ads. There is no way out of it. You have to be in the program. I think this could be a good feature if it was implemented right. First of all, the fees are way too high. They're insane. You should not have to pay that much for an offsite ad, especially one that you are required to be a part of. But on top of that, the fact that you are required to be a part of this. I think this could be good for a lot of Etsy business owners if it was their decision. Like if I was an Etsy business owner and I decided that I wanted my products to be put on Google and Bing and social media and in front of people, and I thought that was a good business decision for me, I could opt into the program. But since I have no choice whatsoever and I'm also getting charged for the ad, it is ridiculous. One of the other big issues that I noticed with Etsy is there is just way too much competition. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing because competition can be good. That means that there's a market for whatever you're selling if other people are selling it. However, the results of it on Etsy are not so good. In order to get noticed on Etsy, you generally have to price your products pretty low. When I was selling on Etsy, I would look at all of the competition and everybody was selling their stuff dirt cheap. So in order to compete and not look like I'm overcharging, I then have to sell my products at even lower price or a similar price to what everybody else is selling, which obviously cuts into your profits. Now that I moved to Gumroad, I feel like I am more free to price my product what I personally think they're actually worth. Because people can't click off my shop immediately and scroll through the other hundreds of listings that look exactly like mine. With Etsy, it's more likely that the customer is going to purchase the lowest priced product, not the best quality product, which is really what should matter. Now let's talk about Gumroad for a bit. There are a few things that Gumroad does differently from Etsy that is not just their fees. Like, for example, you can list free products in your shop. I like this feature because if you want to attract people to your shop with a freebie, you can do that. And since you make no money on the product, Gumroad doesn't either. There is no charge for putting up a free product. I think this is just a great way to attract people to your shop because once they are at your shop for a free product, they might be more likely to look at all of the other paid options that you have on your shop. This is something that I would like to try out in the future. You can also charge a reoccurring fee on Gumroad. So for example, like a membership. If you have a course that you want people to pay monthly for, or you kind of want to use it like a Patreon, you can do that. There are a lot of different options that you can do if you want to do a reoccurring monthly fee. It's going to give you a reliable, predictable source of income because you're going to know how much money you're going to be making each month, which is really important when you work for yourself. Gumroad also has this interesting option that I've never seen before called the pay what you want. And it does exactly what it sounds like. Customers can come to your listing and pay whatever they think that listing is worth. You can set a minimum price on that product, and then the customers can decide if that's a good price or if they want to pay more for that product. And then you can set a suggested price so you can tell the customer what you think your product is actually worth. When I've seen creators use this option, I've seen them set the price to $1 and then they let the customer choose if they'd like to pay more for that product or not. It's an interesting concept, one I don't think I'll personally be using, but I might test it out in the future. I would probably use it for small products that I want to create, but I'm not sure what I want to price them at. Or if you wanted to post something as a freebie, but you didn't want it to be 100% free, you could post it as $1 and then have people decide from there. That way you are making at least a small profit off of something that could be technically a freebie. You can also use this to test out what customers will think a future product is worth. So let's say you're making an ebook and you have a few things in there that you could make into a freebie or a smaller product, like a worksheet or something like that. You could take that worksheet from your ebook and put it on there as $1, see what people are willing to pay for that, and then from there you could base off what you would charge for your ebook as a whole. Any site that you choose on is going to have its pros and cons, and it's going to have its fees. So it's best to experiment on what platforms that you think are the best and go from there. I personally will be staying off Etsy for now and see how Gumroad is going to do for me, and I may make the decision to try something else out in the future. But if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to check out some Etsy tips for yourself, check out this video that I have right here. I also have another Etsy video you can check out right here. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below for more videos just like this. And I'll see you next week. Bye!